Finding home in disguise, the autumn wind rustled through the maple trees outside the modest two-bedroom apartment as Marcus Wellington pulled his battered Honda Civic into the parking space marked 15B. He sat for a moment in the gathering dusk, looking up at the warm yellow light spilling from his second-floor windows where his twin daughters were probably doing their homework at the kitchen table that served as everything from dining room to desk to art station. At 32, Marcus had learned to find beauty in simplicity. The apartment wasn't much: thin walls, a temperamental heating system, and a kitchen barely big enough for two people, but it was home for him and his 7-year-old twins, Jake and Lily. Since his wife Emma's death in a car accident 3 years ago, Marcus had built their life around routine, stability, and the kind of love that didn't require expensive things to feel abundant. His job as a night shift supervisor at the textile factory paid enough to cover rent, groceries, and the basics, but childcare was always a challenge. His usual babysitter, Mrs. Rodriguez from downstairs, had fallen and broken her hip the week before, leaving Marcus scrambling to find someone reliable who wouldn't cost more than he could afford. That's when the college student had answered his ad on the community board at the local coffee shop. Sarah Mitchell, she had said her name was, 26, studying child development, looking for part-time work that would give her real experience with children. Her voice over the phone had been warm and professional, and when she mentioned her rate was half what the babysitting agencies charged, Marcus felt a flutter of hope that maybe things were finally working out. What Marcus didn't know was that Sarah Mitchell wasn't a college student at all. Her real name was Sarah Wellington. No relation, just one of those coincidences that life sometimes arranges. She was the daughter of James Wellington, CEO of Wellington Industries, one of the largest manufacturing companies in the state. At 26, Sarah had never wanted for anything material, but she had grown increasingly restless in the world of charity galas, board meetings, and social expectations that defined her privileged existence. 3 months ago, after another meaningless cocktail party where people spoke about the working class like they were discussing characters in a book, Sarah had made a decision that horrified her father and baffled her friends. She had temporarily stepped away from her executive trainee position at Wellington Industries and created a false identity, complete with a modest apartment across town and a part-time job at a local bookstore. She wanted to understand what life was really like for the families her father's company employed. Families she had heard about in reports, but never truly known. The knock on Marcus's door came at exactly 6 o'clock, just as he was finishing the dinner dishes while Jake and Lily argued over whose turn it was to feed their goldfish. "Oliver, that must be Sarah," Marcus said, drying his hands on a dish towel. "Remember what we talked about. Best behavior, and if you need anything while I'm at work, you ask her, okay?" He opened the door to find a young woman with kind brown eyes and shoulder-length dark hair pulled back in a simple braid. She wore jeans and a soft green sweater and carried a canvas bag that looked like it might contain books and art supplies. "Mr. Wellington, I'm Sarah Mitchell. Thank you so much for this opportunity." Something about her handshake struck Marcus as unusually confident for someone who was supposedly just starting out as a babysitter, but her smile was genuine and warm. When Jake and Lily appeared in the doorway to inspect their new caregiver, Sarah knelt down to their eye level immediately. "You must be Jake and Lily," she said seriously. "I'm Sarah. I'm looking forward to hearing about your day and maybe helping with homework if you'd like." "Do you know how to do long division?" Lily asked skeptically. "Mrs. Rodriguez always got confused with the carrying part," Sarah laughed. "I think I can handle long division. What about you, Jake? What's your favorite subject?" Jake, who was usually shy with new people, found himself saying, "I like reading, especially books about space and planets." "Space is fascinating," Sarah agreed. "Did you know that some stars are so far away that the light we see from them tonight actually left the star before you were born?" As Marcus gathered his work jacket and lunch bag, he watched Sarah naturally engage with his children. There was something almost polished about the way she spoke to them, like someone accustomed to communicating with people of all ages. But the children seemed comfortable with her, which was what mattered most. "I'll be back around 6:30 in the morning," Marcus said. Their bedtime is 8:30. There's leftover pizza in the fridge for dinner. And my number is on the refrigerator if you need anything. We'll be fine. Mr. Wellington, have a good night at work. After Marcus left, Sarah looked around the small apartment with new eyes. Everything was clean and carefully maintained, but she could see the signs of a family living on a tight budget. The furniture was second-hand, but arranged with care. The children's artwork was displayed prominently on the refrigerator, and there were library books stacked neatly on every available surface. Can you really help with my math homework? Lily asked, pulling Sarah back to the present. Absolutely. Let's see what you're working on. For the next 2 hours, Sarah helped the twins with their homework around the kitchen table that clearly served as the family's everything space. She was surprised by how naturally the evening flowed, checking over Jake's reading comprehension worksheet, walking Lily through the steps of long division, and listening to their chatter about school friends and weekend plans. When homework was finished, they played board games until dinner time. Sarah heated up the leftover pizza and found herself genuinely enjoying the conversation with 2 7-year-olds who had opinions about everything from why cats were better, pets than dogs, to whether aliens might live on Mars. Our dad works really hard, Jake said as they cleared their dinner plates. He wants to get a day job so he can be home with us at night, but he says those jobs don't pay as much. He reads to us every morning before school, though, Lily added. Even when he's really tired from working all night? Sarah felt something tighten in her chest. In her world, parents who were present and attentive were often the ones with nannies, housekeepers, and drivers handling the daily details. Here was a father who worked nights to support his family and still made sure to read bedtime stories before school. As 8:30 approached, Sarah helped the twins get ready for bed. They brushed teeth, put on pajamas, and argued mildly about which book they wanted her to read. They settled on a story about a dragon who was afraid of flying, and Sarah found herself genuinely invested in the tale as she read aloud from the well-worn library book. Will you be here tomorrow night? Lily asked sleepily as Sarah tucked her in. If your dad needs me, yes. Would you like that? Yeah. You're good at math, and you don't get impatient when Jake asks lots of questions about the stories. When Marcus returned home at 6:45 the next morning, he found Sarah asleep on the couch with a book open on her chest and a hand-drawn thank you card from the twins on the coffee table beside her. She had cleaned the kitchen, folded a load of laundry that had been sitting in a basket, and left a note saying the children had been wonderful. Over the following weeks, Sarah continued working for Marcus 3 nights a week while he was at the factory. She found herself looking forward to those evenings more than anything else in her carefully compartmentalized life. The twins had begun to feel like family, and Marcus, on the rare occasions when their schedules overlapped, struck her as one of the most genuinely good people she had ever met. The truth came out. On a rainy Thursday evening, when Sarah was helping Jake with a school project about different types of jobs, they had spread pictures and magazine clippings across the kitchen table, sorting them into categories. This man looks like he has an important job, Jake said, holding up a newspaper photo of a CEO shaking hands with government officials. Sarah glanced at the photo and froze. It was her father, James Wellington, at a recent groundbreaking ceremony for a new factory. The caption read, Wellington Industries CEO James Wellington announces expansion plans that will create 200 new jobs in the region. Sarah? Lily was studying her face with concern. Are you okay? You look funny. I'm fine. Just remembered something I need to take care of. But Sarah wasn't fine. Looking at her father's picture surrounded by the twins' homework and hearing Jake's innocent comment about important jobs, she realized how deeply she had embedded herself in this deception. These children trusted her, and Marcus trusted her with his most precious possessions, and she was lying to them every single day. That night, after the twins were asleep, Sarah sat at the kitchen table writing a letter she wasn't sure she would ever have the courage to give Marcus. She tried to explain who she really was and why she had created this false identity, but every version sounded either self-serving or condescending. The decision was made for her the following week when Jake came home from school, excited about a field trip. Announcement: we're going to visit Wellington Industries next month. he told Sarah as she helped him hang up his backpack. My teacher says it's one of the biggest companies around here, and they make things that help other companies work better. Sarah felt